3 years ago, the F-22 Raptor made its combat debut in Syria. The idea was for the fifth-generation fighter to use its stealth technology to evade detection from surface-to-air missile batteries in a contested region. But the Syrians apparently had no plans to fire on U.S. aircraft, at least before the Russians entered the battlespace. So the twin-engine aircraft designed primarily for air-to-air superiority took on a different role in the fight, served as a high-altitude reconnaissance platform and major airborne command post. Similarly, when the Raptor made its combat debut on Sunday in Afghanistan, the jet conducted a ground attack mission, pummelling suspected drug labs in the country with small-diameter bombs, Air Force officials said. While some observers criticized the mission as overkill and a waste of resources, officials inside and outside of the Air Force said it served a purpose by employing particular munitions designed to minimize collateral damage and by offering realistic training to learn more about how the weapon system performs in combat scenarios. We opted to use the F-22 for this operation because of its ability to carry the small diameter bomb that was necessary to keep collateral damage to an absolute minimum, and because the SVBs needed for the operation were located there with the aircraft. LT Colonel Damien Picard, spokesman for Air Force's Central Command, said in response to an email from military.com. At the onset, the decision to use the Raptor seemed puzzling, as the Taliban and militants in the region do not have the sophisticated weaponry the aircraft was built to dodge. The F-22s were joined by the U-52 Strato Fortresses and Afghan A-29 Super Tucanos to conduct an expanded strike mission, called the New Offensive Campaign, against the Taliban's revenue stream, said Army Gen. John Nicholson, commander of the NATO-led Resolute Support Mission and U.S. Forces Afghanistan. When asked about the strike, Nicholson said the Raptor was employed because of its ability to deliver precision munitions, realistic training. But it's not just about the weapons they employ, it's also extra practice for pilots. According to at least one defense analyst in Washington, D.C., we're using F-22s in Afghanistan for the same reason the Russians are using their latest bombers and ships and missiles in Syria, realistic training. The source told military.com on background. We both have a generation of weapons that we haven't used in combat. And the more we can learn about how they actually work as opposed to how they work on our tests ranges, the better equipped we'll be for when it's not a permissive fight. When the US is fighting a war, the analyst added, it's not about choosing the cheapest weapon, it's about using the one that will get there when you need it with what you need aboard. Granted, the military has a number of aircraft, the FA-180F and F-15E Strike Eagle, that can drop the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, a precision-guided glide bomb developed by Boeing Co. But if U.S. Central Command is to be believed, many of them were busy elsewhere. The source said, to a commander, it's silly to have a usable asset and not use it just because you think it may be overqualified.